Welcome to Podadelphia. My name is Dave DiOrio. You can find me on Twitter at fat_lobster. And I'm joined by two players to be named later. What's up, Sarah and Gene?
Hey Dave, hey Gene. I can't think of a funny reply. That's 2 weeks in a row I struck out. That's a shame. But if you want someplace I'm more consistently funny, try older episodes of Podadelphia. If you want episodes where I'm on my high horse, visit me on Twitter. That's at Sarah Siders. You can find the show at Podadelphia.
It's amazing how often player to be named later gets traded. The guy must suck, but he can't stick anywhere.
Or he's very in
My name's
demand.
Gene Gilak. You can find me on Twitter at Producer Gene. I'm probably not going to be saying anything. I'm probably just going to be piggybacking on something that Sarah said. And if not piggybacking off of something that she said, I'll probably be piggybacking off of Podadelphia, because this is the bit that will never die.
So I want to start with the Eagles today because we kind of haven't talked birds in ages, and while I'm not really into practice scouting reports, like God, it drives me nuts because I've been seeing all these Twitter reports like, so and so looks good, so and so looks like it's struggling, but it's early, so all this stuff can change. It's like, great, so you basically made a word salad and then threw it in the trash at the end. But I think the most compelling thing that's going on with the Eagles right now is what's up with Carson Wentz.
Wait. Carson Wentz isn't on the team? We never talked about that. That we never.
Well, that's also like the never-ending joke. We never discussed the Carson Wentz trade to Indianapolis, but Carson Wentz, Indianapolis Colt. He hurt his foot. He's got a bum wheel, and that requires surgery, and he's going to be out.
Wait, Carson Wentz got hurt?
I don't know what's happening with the show already. It's less than 3 minutes in, and I'm already like, I've lost control of this show. I don't know if I'm having technical difficulties or I'm just confused on what's happening. Yes, Carson Wentz got hurt as in a surprise to no one.
That's unlike him.
I know. It really, well, it's unlike him, it's this before the season starts. It's usually when it's like really, really important, he goes down. But yeah, he's going to be out 5 to 12 weweeks.
A nice range there.
What's that, Gene?
That's a nice range there. Like,
trust me, I'm feeling like it's going to be the long end of that. Yeah, I mean, how do you feel about this? Because there's a draft pick tied up with this, right? So if Carson Wentz takes 75% of the snaps, our second round pick that we got from the Colts conveys into a first, or if he takes 70% of the snaps and the Colts make the playoffs, that pick conveys into a first. So are you like, oh my God, Carson Wentz, you're fucking us over again?
All right, I'll go first. So I was the one that was probably the most anxious to want to jump to Carson Wentz's defense. I don't know. Until I realized like what that compensation really was. And I gotta honestly say that at this point, I'd almost rather have the second round pick, because it's going to be about the same as a late first round pick if he comes back and they make the playoffs. It's we're not talking about a huge difference in draft capital. It's not like it would be converting into like a top 15 pick, because in order to do that, Carson Wentz would have to play really, really well. I think it's interesting that, sort of like what you were talking about, the first couple of days of camp, there was just nothing but heaps and heaps of praise on how well Carson Wentz was playing. And if you watched ESPN from those first days of camp, it was just highlight after highlight of him, dodging tacklers who weren't allowed to touch him and stuff like that. So, it was sort of surprising that sort of under these conditions this early in camp that he would come down with such a serious injury. I don't know that it was contact related, because I haven't been reading that much into it. I mean, all I needed to hear was that he was going to need surgery. But yeah, so at this point, he's a Colt, so he's their problem. And for all those people that want to trade for Nick Foles, I'm sure Chicago will take your call.
I mean, for me, I'm having a hard time balancing the Schadenfreude of Wentz going down versus how much the first round pick would help the Eagles. So I'm all aboard Team Tank this year for the Eagles. I'm not certain, we haven't gotten there quite yet in our conversation, but I'm for fun, exciting, and I'm okay if we lose. So that first round pick would come in really handy. But I really kind of love Carson Wentz leaving Philly and continuing to have a hard time staying on the field. Not that I wish the man injury. I just find it funny, and I really would love to see Foles go in and take his job at another location.
Well, I think you have to be you have to be of one of two minds here, and I think that your enjoyment of the NFL season is going to certainly play a part of this. And you can look at it and say, we really want the Colts to do, or we want Carson to start every game, and you can walk this fine line, right? Like play just well enough to stay in every game, but play just bad enough so we don't feel bad about trading you. And at this point, just hope that the Colts are as bad as possible. So the second round pick is a high second round pick and kind of makes it feel like a low first round pick. Because, I mean, look, he's going to miss at least like half the season or somewhere around that, maybe a third of the season. It's just going to be a mess. And because we've been here, right? Like Carson Wentz is going to come back. It's going to be like helter skelter. And then at the end of the season, everyone's going to say like, oh, but he was hurt. Just wait till next year. Like when he's healthy and we get a full off season and he gets a full training camp. It's like, no, like we've been down this path before. We know exactly what's going to happen. And for everyone who's like, we didn't get enough in that trade, or, we shouldn't have made that trade. We didn't get like full value in that trade. Just imagine for a second that we didn't make that trade and Carson Wentz is here. And I mean, I guess we had the Jalen Hurts thing waiting in the wings, but we would be stuck with another injured quarterback, another injured Carson Wentz, another season of, what might have been, or whatever you want to try to convince yourself. Eventually you got to admit you were wrong about Carson Wentz, and like cut bait. I was a Wentz guy, I mean, I still think that Wentz over Foles was the right play, but I honestly thought Wentz was going to be like truly great, like a franchise great quarterback. And it's just didn't quite pan out that way. And, sometimes you just got to like admit when you're wrong and move on.
I don't know if it became a psychological issue with him last season. I've never quite seen a quarterback who had so much going for him, at least in terms of how he played the position and with instincts, sort of abandon all of the instincts and all of the sort of mental aspects of the game that he used to sort of do well. I mean, he was never he was never like a savant. He was never like a Joe Montana read the defense sort of guy. He always had a much more of a Brett Favre sort of mentality. I'll do it myself if I have to. But to a certain degree, he wasn't given a lot of other options. It's not like he had Terrell Owens or somebody like that to sort of mask some of his mistakes. But when he committed as many turnovers as he did the last two seasons, there was no turning back. And honestly, in a lot of ways, I think he cost Doug Peterson his job. It's a more than 15% of why Doug Peterson is not here is directly tied to how the fate of Carson Wentz. There's a reason why neither one of them are here. I know we had a lot of conversations in the year about which one was going to stay between Howie and Carson and Doug. And I don't think any of us thought that it was going to be 2 out of 3, and certainly didn't think that it was going to be that Howie was going to be the only one standing. So, yeah. But here we are now. We're weeks away from, the Eagles getting back into preseason. And from everything we're hearing, things, a lot of the players that have come in are looking good. I think one of the interesting things that I've been reading about is the situation at left tackle. And this is sort of tied back to Howie Roseman, because it's looking like trading up to get Andre Dillard might not have been the best move. He is not he's not winning the job from a guy who had never played football before, Jordan Mailata, who seems to have the edge on becoming the next starting left tackle. I just hope that this doesn't inspire anyone to call Jason Peters. That's just my big hope. This is about
I just hope this is not one of those, just please play the best guy possible. Don't make it one of these situations where it's like, oh, we invested a first round pick in this guy, we got to pay him, or I'm paying this guy more money, we got to play him, just to, make a point of thing. Like, let's just play the best guy possible. And Jordan Mailata is like, yes, he doesn't have like the lifetime football experience that maybe Andre Dillard has, but he's certainly, blessed by the gods with, certain physical attributes that will help him play football, is what I'm getting at. So, maybe that's tough to contend with.
You're just calling him handsome.
I don't, I mean, like, handsome man for sure. But but maybe you can't compete with that, whatever, just play the best guy possible that's going to protect our quarterback.
Yeah. And so that's, I think, one of the things that we're going to be watching going through camp is how the offensive line is going to shape up. Sarah, I wanted to ask you, do you have any thoughts on what you're going to expect from this first time out head coach? A lot of people are giving him almost no, I don't want to say no credit, but they're basically saying that he's never called plays before. He's a complete unknown. The Eagles are screwed.
See, I wouldn't go screwed.
Look at this. We got a special guest.
Hey!
Michael Ray Orsino has joined the show. Hey, we're talking Eagles, man.
So what you do is on the back of it, right?
Hold on a second. I gotta turn off my.
I think that was a work call.
All right.
Oh, Jesus. We wait real quick. This episode's title has been Phillies and Nonsense, and we have the nonsense covered
for sure.
But Radar, Mike, take it away.
I didn't realize that this was actually for your podcast.
Yeah. So I had to drop you. We were going to just watch the Phillies game before we went live, but we went live, and now you're here, so we got to put you on the spot. How are you feeling about the Carson Wentz injury?
Love it. I can't wait for Nick Foles to be the starter. I'm going to go drop $500 for the Colts to go all the way to the Super Bowl.
Do you think there's any chance that the Colts would be psychotic enough to make a move to bring in Nick Foles?
Absolutely.
I mean, you have to be brain dead to do that, or totally deaf to the situation.
I know that you're not talking about the Phillies, but you're watching it, right? Because
I got the dots up. Wait, no, are the Phillies up right now?
Yeah,
they're at bat, right?
5-4.
Are they still batting in the ninth?
Yeah, they just bunted with 2 outs, so that's how we're going. But but I think Colts Super Bowl, baby, would be great.
It's ridiculous. What are you expecting out of Nick? What are you eating?
It's dinner time, man.
All right. Just give me your thoughts real quick on Nick Sirianni, and then give me your over/under on the Eagles this season. I'll let you go.
All right. I think Nick Sirianni, huge wild card, and because of that, I think the Eagles are going to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, that's what I got.
All right, I've had enough of this. You have a nice night. I'll talk to you.
So it's going to be Eagles Colts Super Bowl. Book it.
I would love that. I would that as long as Wentz is not in the game. And boy, did he have a fall for me too, Dave. I wasn't as high on him as you were. But I mean, I of course thought, like, hey, this is our guy. Maybe he'll be a mid-tier franchise quarterback, but he's our guy. He's going to be the quarterback in Philadelphia for the next decade. And he was barely here, of 3 years of relevance. But as for the head coach, I don't think, he's doomed to fail. I don't think, there's a lot of people who have a lot of football experience. Just because you haven't called a game in the NFL yet doesn't mean that it's going to completely derail his season, his ability to do the job. Now, does he know how to do the job? Is he a good coach? That's who knows? Who knows if this guy is going to be the next Andy Reid, who had a really impressive binder and a really impressive interview, but he might be. I don't think the Eagles are doomed to fail because of him. The Eagles might be doomed to fail because of personnel, and a rookie head coach might not help that. But I don't think Sirianni is going to be what torpedoes the team.
Look, here's what I want to do. I want to go into the NFL season kind of with no expectations, right? I mean, like we haven't been able to do that in a while, and it's a completely different way to watch football. It's like, you're not like, okay, we got to win the Super Bowl or we got to win the division or anything like that. Like let's just see what happens. You may be pleasantly surprised. Not everyone, but I'm hearing a lot of people like rail, like Sirianni's not going to be great. He's gonna struggle. But you don't know. Like you just don't know. Maybe he's like a genius. I don't know.
And it's not like the Eagles are locked into him. If he goes out there and he has no idea what he's doing, we can have a new head coach next year. And
I mean, yeah, I guess.
I mean, I'm not rooting for it, but I'm saying, like, if the guy is as incompetent as people fear, which it probably isn't, but he could get the Chip Kelly. What did Chip Kelly get? 2 years to ruin the franchise or set it back half a decade and then gone? Or
I think it was 2 years and 15 games.
Yep.
And then we won a Super Bowl in 2 years. So we have the first preseason game in 9 days.
Wow.
Isn't that wild? 9 days.
Some
stuff to talk about for sure.
Well, we have the Eagles aren't in it, but we have the Hall of Fame game, right? That has to be coming up really soon.
I'll tell you what, I cannot watch preseason football I could barely watch Eagles preseason football. I got to be honest.
Well, that's same true for me, but the Hall of Fame game is the football game I convince myself to get excited for every year, and I bail because it's the first game of the season, because the summer has been hot and uncomfortable, and I could use a little bit cooler weather. We've been having some cool mornings around here lately. The Hall of Fame game starts. I am ready for the fall, and I bail on that game within 10 minutes. Like, it's horrible football about teams I don't care about, but I always get excited every year because I'm stupid. And
that game in particular, you get like the real scrubs of the scrubs because they have to be prepared for that game so early. A lot of those guys that coach that game, they put in a lot of the very marginal roster players to sort of treat it almost like a long form scrimmage. It's interesting, and this is one of the interesting years for preseason football for me, is because there's a lot more players on this team. And once you get kind of beyond the starters that I don't know anything about, I don't really have any sense of the depth of this team. So it's going to be interesting to sort of see if there are some guys out of camp or in the preseason that sort of can capture my attention and maybe have some a rooting interest. I really hope that, sort of just looking around at the way that the national media is sort of talking about the Eagles right now, if you're sort of in the throes of, finally it's, you're able to sort of read about new things about football again. They don't really have any regard for what's happening here at all, if they're even talking about it. I'm hoping that there's going to be a point where Eagles fans start to feel that tug of, no one likes us, we don't care. I'm hoping that there's going to sort of feel the, people are going to slag on Jalen Hurts, and that, maybe there's going to be a game early in the season where he's going to do something, and we can sort of start to hop on, and he can sort of be our guy. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm sort of without that sort of heroic presence on the team right now. A lot of people may have used to gravitate towards Zach Ertz, and the way that situation has been held. Yeah, he's going to be on the team, but like for most of the year, we thought that it was a foregone conclusion for the offseason that Zach Ertz was not going to be on this team at the beginning of the year. So I think a lot of people sort of emotionally divorce themselves.
Wait, is Zach Ertz still on the team, or was he substituted with his blonde brother?
Well, I mean, it may be some sort of Zach Ertz clone, but he's still got, his name is still on the depth chart. But it's hard to root. It's sort of hard to be all in on a guy who
not getting anything in a trade from him is pretty criminal.
Yeah, which is, were they just asking too much, or did they not want to trade him? It seems like he was pretty much like, yeah, just find me a place to play and I'll go there. But those are sort of the storylines that have sort of come into this Eagles season. We don't know what we have. We don't know what to expect.
Well, from an offensive standpoint, you got Miles Sanders, and then you got Devontae Smith, and the NFL community does not think that that's a very good recipe for a productive offense. I mean, I heard on the radio today, I think it was Dave Spadaro saying something like, Quez Watkins is very impressive in practice. It's like, oh, wow, really? We're going that deep for Quez Watkins? Like, no, like this is not going to be a great offense. It's just not going to be a good offense.
Yeah, but to go back to Gene's point, it's going to be one to be fun to root for, just because. It's our team.
Yeah.
But it's our team, but also, with Hurts and bringing in his college wide receiver, there's a compelling narrative there, and the guy came into a tough situation here and did well. So I really, really, really want to see him succeed. I want to see that chemistry that him and Devontae Smith apparently had in college. I did not watch a single game of theirs, so I don't know personally, but I hear, they were a really dynamic connection before. So I would like to see that happen here, but I'm invested in that kid. Like, if Hurts was the one out of town, I'd be rooting for Hurts on the Colts. So I really want to see Jalen Hurts do well. And outside of that, I'm, like you said towards the start of the show, Dave, I'm down for whatever. Show me where you are, Eagles. And if enough good things are happening, I can go, okay, there's promise for next season. The last thing I want to see is the cluster that we got last season, where it was dysfunction. It wasn't fun. It wasn't even like gossipy drama. It was just misery week after week after week. Yeah.
While we're still talking, it looks like we're going to do a half hour on the Eagles today. Well, while we're on this subject, I mean, do either of you have any sort of issue with the Eagles' like reluctancy to name Jalen Hurts as the official QB1 for the Philadelphia Eagles, as rumors continue to mount up that they're exploring trades for either Deshaun Watson or like keeping availability open in case Aaron Rodgers even becomes available, which I have been banging the drum for. If he ever becomes available, you need to be ready to pounce.
Yeah, that's very reminiscent of like when Peyton Manning suddenly became an option. But imagine if that happened like 10 years earlier. You know what I mean? Peyton Manning was still really, really good at the end of his career and didn't have half of the arm that he had when he was in Indianapolis, but was still, thankfully he still had that brain and was able to sort of still win a Super Bowl that way. Aaron Rodgers has still got an incredible amount of talent on top of the fact that he is a field general. So I agree that you'd have to be ready to pounce on it. I would hope that that's not what they're hesitancy is from, if they're waiting on Aaron Rodgers to become available, because I think that nobody would fault you if you had named Jalen Hurts the starter, but then were able to land Aaron Rodgers. Nobody's going to question that. You had to make an adjustment. You had to backtrack for something like that. I think
I'm with you.
I think the endorsement would go a long way towards boosting Jalen Hurts' confidence. I think that if there's one thing that we've learned through the Carson Wentz years, is that there's nothing wrong with making sure that your quarterback's mental health or his ego, whatever you want to call it, like his charisma, his charm, whatever Dungeons and Dragons characteristic you want to level up for your quarterback. It doesn't hurt to make sure that those guys feel like your QB1 should feel like he's the QB1. So long way to say that it's stupid for the Eagles not to give the guy the job when he's clearly taken all of the snaps in practice as the one. And people are going to keep asking you that question until you answer it.
Yeah, I don't feel strongly about them not officially naming him, but it does seem to create unnecessary drama. But, being the coach's first camp, maybe it's just going to be, and it's a stupid talking point, because if we had Aaron Rodgers, if we had Tom Brady, if we had some, Hall of Fame quarterback, it would be insulting to go, well, they have to win the job like everybody else. But if that's the shtick, if that's the bit this year, I don't mind it. But yeah, name him the number one quarterback. He's the only one left in town. And if things change, well, then they change. And that's fine. If he can't take the fact that an Aaron Rodgers would come in and take his job, then the guy's not going to be here for the long term anyway. So.
All right. Tim says woohoo, and by that I figure that the Phillies have just won their third game in a row, and have beaten the Washington Nationals. As of right now, Miami is up 5-3 going into the ninth inning. So it looks like we have a great chance today of possibly being 2.5 games out of first place. So let's talk a little Phillies baseball. What did you think of the trade deadline? The actions that Dombrowski took at the trade deadline, in particular, well, I guess really the only move really of note was trading Spencer Howard to the Texas Rangers for Kyle Gibson, Ian Kennedy, and Hans Kraus.
Kraus. I like it. It's something. Maybe I wanted to see more flash at the deadline, but I wasn't scouting other teams. I didn't have a wish list. But if I did, bullpen help and starting pitching help would be on the wish list. So I'm happy there. Losing Howard, fine. I wasn't. This wasn't losing. Sixto Sanchez. This was losing somebody as lukewarm on. So I like it. I don't know if it's energized the team or if it's just coincidence that we've now won 3 in a row and things feel better. But to me, it's like, okay, we improved at the deadline. We have this famed second half easy schedule. The Mets are within striking distance. For me, it's really all coalescing to get me excited about the Phillies without apprehension for the first time in a long time. But my faith is fragile. So if I have apprehension next week, I fully admit that my faith is fragile. But I'm buying in, and I like the moves at the trade deadline to maybe get the team to buy in or just make the team better.
I'll tell you, I like the moves in the division, in the sense that clearly you see another team in the division who's fire sailing. You saw Washington Nationals sell off 2 very big pieces and sort of indicate that they intend on going into some sort of a rebuild. So, we've been bunched in this division in a sort of circle of mediocrity. And I think my issue with the trade deadline moves is that I think they did a really good job of staying competitive with this division as it's constructed. But basically, it's like the NL East is having a rock fight, while out in the NL West, they've got a cold.
They're using nuclear weapons.
You know what I mean? Like it is. We are. It's almost like we are not even in the same stratosphere as far as the sort of moves that like the Dodgers. I mean, those teams out west are loading up for bear. They're loading up for war. And the Phillies, I think, kept pace with we need to keep up with what we have in front of us. But the Mets, did they do anything? I can't think of anything of note the Mets did.
The Mets got Baez.
Okay, they got Baez, but
and they got Rich Hill. And they got Rich Hill.
Yeah, but these are not, these are.
But they just lost DeGrom, maybe for the year. I mean, you never know.
Which is tragic, but could very seriously help Wheeler's chances at a Cy Young. So that's the bright side.
Yeah, I don't. He's kind of faded a little bit.
Yeah, but you take that. The guy who was, number one with a bullet out of the picture. And you go into a pennant race and you overtake that team.
Sure. Now look,
interesting.
I want to talk a little bit more about this trade, because if you're a Rangers fan, are you at all happy with this trade? You've traded away an all-star in Kyle Gibson. You've traded away a decent end of the bullpen guy in Ian Kennedy. And you traded, you basically gave the Phillies their fourth best prospect in their farm system for Spencer Howard. Now, is Spencer Howard, I don't know. Did we damage him to the point of no return? Are we leaving a potential talent on the table here and while shipping him off to Texas, or do we just not know how to? We were like, well, we just don't know what to do with him anymore, so let's just move.
Yeah, we got a hell of a return for Spencer Howard. I find that a bit baffling. Any two of those pieces would be, pretty damn good. So you have to hope he lives up to his scouting. You have to hope that, all right, this guy is going to be, if not a legitimate ace, a legitimate starter. So I don't know. I'm going
to read to you Baseball America's grading of this trade. They gave the Phillies a B+. They gave the Rangers a D-. So let's just read what they wrote about the Rangers. They talk about the Gallo trade where they sent him to the Yankees and they didn't get enough for him. But they said the more problematic trade was the one that sent Kyle Gibson and Ian Kennedy to the Phillies. For one of the best starters and closers on the market, the Rangers received underperforming and injury-prone former top prospect Spencer Howard and prospect right-handers Kevin Gowdy and Josh Gessner. I'm guessing no one on this call knows really who they are. Neither of whom ranked in the top 30 prospects in a very shallow Phillies system. The best prospect in the deal is actually the one the Rangers traded away, right-handed pitcher Hans Kraus. The deal was among the most lopsided of the deadline, yet another failure by the Rangers to fully capitalize on their best trade assets. So everyone who's like crapping on Dombrowski about like not getting Kimbrel or not getting Bryan or Story or any of these other names that were speculated to being available, it's like, maybe we should trust the guy that's probably going to be a future Hall of Fame GM.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue that he should have made more moves, but I don't know how you could be upset with this one. Even if you like Spencer Howard, even if you go, I really have hope that, another year, a little better luck, this guy's going to be legit. Well, you have to give up something and get something, and the Phillies got a lot. So if you wanted the Phillies to add more at the trade deadline, okay, I guess.
It's constantly the town's expectations. It's like, here's 2 potatoes, make me a 5-course meal. You know, I mean, like, what do you want? The guy, I mean, to me, this was a magical trade. What's that?
I said you at least have to throw in a couple of fish there.
Yeah, maybe I'll get some fish sticks. How about that? And look, what I like most about it is you didn't hang on to Spencer Howard like he's some kind of like, I don't know, like mythical creature or something, like we did with like Don Brown, like we did with JP Crawford, like all these guys. It's like you held onto them for too long. You let their value dissipate, and now you want to trade them. What we did with Ben Simmons, it's the same thing that's happening. It's like you sat on it for too long. You could have had Harden. God damn it.
Well, and even in that the write-up of the trade, they mentioned just how poor the Phillies farm system is. Win now. Win. Yeah. I don't know how anybody, and I feel like I'm just beating on this drum, but the future is now. I wish it looked better. I wish we looked like one of the teams out west that were, you know, competing to be, you know, world beaters, but we're not. But the division is within our grasps. It's there for the taking. Let's take it, get in the postseason, and see what the hell happens, because it's not like, you know, Reading and Lehigh Valley are exploding with prospects to come on this team. It's not. What we have is what we have. Let's get better right now and hope for the best.
Yeah, I mean, so Dombrowski basically improved the existing team and replaced the guy he sent with another prospect. So, I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I'm thrilled with this team. Now, did you guys watch the video I sent you of Hans Kraus?
Yes.
Sort of a crazy man, and I love him for it. Got to be on the field 28 minutes before the game, not a second more, not a minute more, not a minute late. He's got all kinds of crazy windups that he's copying off of other goofy pitchers, like the Johnny Cueto, like double twist and the Dice K, or the Hideo. No, I don't know, but I don't know. He's a character. So I hope to see him in the majors soon, because I think he's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, me too. He's either like a serial killer or the boy next door, because he just has this innocent farm boy sort of look and the neck tattoos, and he's so peculiar and has like an Audrey Hepburn quote on his Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, it's a pretty famous, like, you know, nothing's impossible. Even the word says I'm possible. And then like rightfully attributes it to Audrey Hepburn. And it's just like, this dude is an interesting cat. Like, and like, I hope fun interesting, and I hope not like basement full of bodies interesting, but I'm here for the ride. They left some ambiguity there. I really hope he's not a serial killer, and I'm pretty sure he's not, but damn, is he interesting.
Yeah. Well, and then if you saw Spencer Howard's comments, he seems pretty happy to be with Texas after being kind of yo-yoed around between like starting and relieving. And, you know, I don't know what Ranger Suarez's feelings are about this whole thing, but I hope he's taking it better than Spencer Howard. So a bit of a strange situation that we came up with this week, where Ian Kennedy closed or finished the game in Pittsburgh on Sunday that we won 15-4. So we had Kyle Gibson start the game. We won that game 15-4 through about 108 pitches in that game. So you could argue that he was overworked, but then we brought in our brand new closer to finish off a game that we were winning by 11. Then he was needed to close the game last night which was sort of a messy save, actually it would turn into a non-save situation before he came into the game, and it got a little messy. And now today we go into the 9th inning with a 1-run lead. It would have been lovely to have, your newly acquired closer available today. But since Joe used him 2 days in a row, and one of them in a game where you're winning by 11 runs, is unavailable today, and we had to bring Alvarado.
Yes. Sing it to the tune of Desperado.
And it's like the third ongoing joke is that I cannot pronounce that gentleman's name. Does Joe know what he's doing?
I'll let Gene start because I have opinions.
I would I would love to say absolutely he does, but there have been some decisions that just I can't justify. Especially for a man who was advertised as this guy knows how to run a bullpen. This guy knows how to run a bullpen. One of the things that I felt was truly lacking in the Gabe Kapler era. Giants fans will probably argue with me on this one, but I felt that he had no idea what to do with the bullpen. And Joe Girardi has not made me a convert that he is some sort of a savant with relief pitchers.
Do not be fooled with San Francisco and Gabe Kapler. Hitting the most home runs in the league does a lot to help you win. I'll just leave it at that.
Do you attribute that to his launch angle style of
I'm just saying, if your team leads the league in home runs, you're going to win a lot of games, no matter what you do.
He's still not going to beat. They still win the division, but that's neither here nor there.
Would you say they're not going to win the division?
We are secret Giants fans, sort of, on this podcast, but it has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with
we're not secret Giant fans. That's not even a thing. I'm a secret money fan.
Yeah.
we'll put it that way. I'm an overt money fan.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah,
nobody's going to ban us from the Hall of Fame.
But to your point, I don't know. I think Joe's done some goofy things.
He's done inexplicable things. It's. We always used to say, the AL should never have manager of the year because their job is substantially easier. And Girardi coming over, after all his time with the Yankees, it's not even like the double switch he's messing up. I don't understand his decision making. It feels like he doesn't have his finger on the pulse of the team. It's like, why are you making the substitution now?
But he won manager of the year with the Marlins. Like, he knows how to do it. I don't know.
Well, no, that's what I was saying. I was saying it wasn't like, classic, AL to NL problems. It just seems to be pushing the wrong buttons, or I don't understand his decision making. At least with Gabe, it was easy to mock the analytics and the index cards on how to play the position. And, there were wheels turning up there half the time with Girardi. I'm like, why are you making this change now?
Do they have hamsters in them?
Well, I think they do have hamsters in them. They're not all greased up like Kapler's are. I was talking like coconut oil, and then it became like
in coconut oil. Oh,
yeah, but it felt like a Richard Gere thing. So, I've lost it there, but yeah, I'm not too high on Girardi. I have my doubts, and they're very loud. I just don't get it. Like, it doesn't seem like, say what you will about Charlie Manuel, but the guy seemed to know his team. He seemed to, trust the pitcher to go like, hey, leave me in, and he would make the right call there. I don't see Girardi pushing the right buttons, making the right decisions of who to call when.
I just think as a manager, the most important thing that you have to do is to manage that bullpen and to bring the right guys in at the right time, preserve the right guys, in the right games. Look forward ahead in the schedule and make sure that you have like matchups lined up. You play to win every game, but you also have to have that foresight into like what's coming up tomorrow, the next 3 games, like who's going to be available, who do I want to use to make not available tomorrow. Like that is the management, like all this stuff, like who's going to pinch hit, like whatever, like anybody could do that. Like, oh, it's a left-hand, put the right-handed bat up. You know what I mean? Like anybody, let's do a defensive replacement now. Oh, let's do a pinch run. Like, I don't know, whatever. It's pretty easy. But I think managing that bullpen is what. Hey, look, the Marlins won today and beat the Mets. So Phillies, 1.5 out. I stand corrected there. 1.5 out of first place with a big, huge series against the Mets this weekend at Citizens Bank Park. Go to the game. Do not let a Mets fan take your seat. Go to the game and be loud and fight them. No, don't fight them.
Well, make sure they're vaccinated.
What?
If you're going to fight them, make sure they're vaccinated or wearing a mask. You got to do this responsibly, okay?
Yeah, it's like, honey, get a mask out of your purse. I'm going to go beat up this Mets fan.
Yes, thank you.
I want to make sure I don't get any.
The most important Mets series probably in what, 3 years, 4 years? It's been a while since it's been like a, and we've got some great, still on this team, there are some great, Mets rivalry stories. We get Rhys Hoskins back just in time. Still not, he's now hobbled, so he can't run fast around the bases. So, the Mets need to just slow their roll if they're going to start hurling fastballs at people's heads. But I will say this about Joe Girardi. The one thing that we all were deeply frustrated with was how we felt like Gabe Kapler had no ability to, and maybe he's learned from this. I don't know. I don't follow the Giants on a daily basis. He didn't feel like he was managing the personalities. It seems like that the asylum was being run by the patients during the Kapler years. And that he would often sort of take all of the responsibility for every loss onto himself and never was critical, or to the point where it seemed like he was completely unaware of what game he was even watching. And I think that bled over into sort of the attitude that the team had. I think that they lost any sense of identity late in seasons. They had no stomach to sort of gut themselves through, those September games where they had to gut check themselves and win, through will. I'd be interested to see this year in a full season, the full marathon, now with Girardi in sort of a similar position going into August with a chance to close on the division leader, a better chance than I think Kapler ever had. Let's see if having a traditional manager, a real leader, let's see if that makes the difference.
Kapler had a season where he was in first place at this point.
Well, then that's even more disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, how many Kapler seasons did we have that August swoon?
All of them.
And
it was all of the seasons.
I mean, specifically, it was, in 2018, 2019? It was the first year of this show, I believe.
Yeah, it was specifically when we launched this podcast. But, Gina, I'm going to give your assessment a lot of credit there because it's something I've had a hard time articulating this season. I think I said early in the year, I didn't quite know why the Phillies were losing. And now I don't quite know why they're winning. It seems as if they're playing a very simple game that the players have bought in. And Kapler, I can't tell you how many games where it felt like they did not care. That tension is brought back, and there does seem to be even when we were losing more frequently than we are now, it felt like we had a shot in the 9th inning. Now we were losing, but it felt like we had a shot.
I mean, I honestly think and this is like you're gonna think it's stupid, but whoever brought that home run hat in and started to make that a thing, I really feel like that was like the turning point.
Yeah, and I think
as dumb as it is,
goes directly to my point is that Girardi is able to allow these guys, and I think probably, Sarah, to your point, he's allowing these players to play the game that they love. I think that the problem with what we had with Kapler's systems was that guys got like analysis frustration, that they didn't need all of the nonsense that was being shot at them, and they really wanted to just go out and play baseball. And
they're also playing in their positions too.
They were frustrated. They were playing all sorts.
They're
of
playing their positions, which makes the big difference.
The defense was bad, and then was put into weaker positions, because they were trying to play some sort of like weird game. And honestly, I think that with baseball, maybe more than any other sport, if you find the things that are working and you don't mess with them too much, and you let guys do their job, because it is like most 9-to-5s, you go to work every day. With football, you don't. You go to work every day, but really Sunday is when you make your money. I think that with baseball, you need to let guys do their job. You can't, that when you micromanage and you overly tweak, I think you end up with what happened like with Reese Hoskins. I think you end up with guys that are broken.
Well, Gene, let me do my job and take us to the penalty box.
All right. Thank you, Dave. And Dave, I'm going to kick it right back to you. Dave, who is in your penalty box this evening?
So I had I kind of had a Jersey Shore weekend over the weekend.
How's the situation?
We're down in, what's that?
I said, how's the situation?
Good. No, I feel like if you're south of Atlantic City, you don't get that. So we were south of Atlantic City. We were actually in Ocean City. And I had some observations of, shooby behavior. Shooby's still a thing. Do people still say shoobies?
Wait, so that was only a like South Jersey Shore Point thing? Or maybe all Jersey Shore Point? You are from there and you moved away from there. So, yeah. And I never lived in Jersey. I only heard shooby until like when I met people who were from the Jersey Shore Points. So
I think what we call the people that.
Yeah, I know, but you say, is it still a thing? You moved inland. It was never a thing here. It was never a thing.
I guess that's why I don't hear about it anymore. It's because no one's talking about it. Damn,
we don't talk about
shoobies. All right, so listen.
Shoobies. Like, my God, I'm so irritating. All I do is jam up the Garden State Expressway. Like, no, we don't care. We don't care about that.
Well, I'm a shoobie, so I should expect that behavior out of myself.
Exactly. Go on. Complain more about Gene and I.
Here's the first thing. The arcade, right? I love Jilly's Arcade. You know why I love Jilly's Arcade? Because it's actual arcade games. Who would have thunk it? There's like 30 pinball machines. There's actual like Pac-Man and Galaga in the back. There's, cool, like there's Mario Kart race. There's actual games. It's not just like one of those like ticket arcades where the kids collect like 1,000 tickets and they get like a Nerf ball or something at the end. Anyway, stop letting your little child pretend to play the game, okay? Like, don't put him in there and, like, pretend to play House of the Dead with the gun, and they're just, like, clicking around, pretending they're playing because you didn't put any damn money in the machine. I would like to play House of the Dead. You're in the way. So I'm standing there waiting, like... But you never die in your pretend game. So you just continue to sit there and click away. Bang, 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 bang. Look, Daddy, look how fun this is. Take them out or put $1 in like everybody else. I want to play the video game. Move on. The next thing is the mini golf. Okay? Like, who takes these small it must be you want to torture yourself and bring these small look, it's packed, all right? There must be 1 million people on the Ocean City boardwalk. Like there's no, like it's it's a mob scene. First off, COVID doesn't exist there. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. It's wall-to-wall people on the boardwalk, everything. It's packed. Mini golf, it's like, do people just try to play mini golf as fast as humanly possible? It's like the second we start this mini golf round, we're just trying to get through it to the end as fast as humanly possible. So we have to be up the literal ass of the people in front. And I'm like, no, I'm taking this seriously. I'm trying to break par here. Okay. I don't need you. Like I'm at the hole. I don't need you teeing up. All right. You got to wait until I clear out of here before you tee up or walk down to get the lay of the greens, or which hole am I supposed to drop it into? Let me mosey on down there inside this nuclear family of 4 so I could see which tube lines up with the hole properly. No, back up, off. I need the person with the sign. Quiet, like back up. This guy's trying to putt here. So I think what I'm trying to get at here is if you could be a decent human being at the Jersey Shore and understand that you are not the star of the world's movie, and just sort of respect other people that are also trying to have like a mini family vacation, and give them space and let them play video games. That's it. Whatever you want to do with that, you can do with it.
All right. To the people who ruined Dave's time at the shore, learn some damn etiquette. Let him play his zombie shooter up instead of your child. Take mini golf as seriously, but not more seriously than he does. And you're getting a 4-minute double minor, 2 minutes for not recognizing someone's space, and another 2 minutes for not practicing basic human decency. All right, Gene, do you have any personal grievances you'd like to air this evening?
I do, actually. This is not necessarily one of those story time with Gene sort of things, but I will say the thing that I am really bugging me right now is that I've been watching a lot more action movies lately. I've gone back and watched a lot of like the classics from the 90s and the 80s, and just sort of the other night I had on Die Hard again for the 200th millionth time. And I will tell you, there's something that I never picked up as a kid, but now in sort of the age of the Marvel universe and all of these sort of bigger action pieces, something that I've noticed and something that I've gotten frustrated, especially with modern blockbusters and action movies, is the Easter egg. It's not a phenomenon. You don't go back to the Karate Kid and look for the Easter eggs in the Karate Kid. You don't go back to older films and look for the Easter eggs. That's something that is now implanted in movies now, and that's fine. It was fine when they were hidden. Now that's the whole premise of an Easter egg. Now I feel like they must have somebody on staff that goes through the script or goes through frame by frame and inserts things and basically circles them in red to be like, some YouTuber needs to notice this so that they can get clicks. Maybe it's all the same lizard people conspiracy. I don't know. But the one that is the most egregious to me, and this is the one that goes the furthest back, is not a visual Easter egg. It is an audio Easter egg. And I should have done my homework and sent this to Dave so he could play it for you. But honestly, when I say the name of it, you're all going to know what it is anyway. It's called the Wilhelm scream. Have you heard the Wilhelm scream? If you can't picture it in your mind, trust me, if you heard it, you would know exactly what it is. And the reason why the Wilhelm scream frustrates me is because anytime I hear it, it immediately takes me out of whatever movie I am in, whatever scene I'm watching, because the whole point of it was to be hidden. And it was sort of an in-joke with audio engineers that they would know, oh, we're using the same scream. But now it's become so epidemic that it becomes something that literally takes me out of the world of the movie and puts me into the world of, oh, that's that pop culture thing that people talk about that I'm now going to think about for 5 seconds, and I'm going to need to rewind the movie because I'm so distracted that I can't focus on what just got blown up. So I would like to put Wilhelm and his scream in the penalty box so that I can at least sort of forget what it sounds like in my mind's eye.
All right. So, filmmakers and movie producers and whoever you may be, if you're making a creative decision, try to be more clever in your references. Don't do Wilhelm.
This is a collection of Wilhelm screams.
That's it.
Oh, that guy when he was like,
Yeah, that's
it's you probably notice it mostly from Star Wars.
Yeah,
I mean, it's in lots of other things, but it's very prominent in Star Wars. So, audio engineers, be more creative in your Easter eggs. Don't put them right in their face. And Gene, never watch Stranger Things. Easter bunnies, be better.
Oh, I turned the volume down.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Sarah, who's in your penalty box tonight?
I have several candidates, but I'm going with Disney Plus. Disney Plus has been around since November of 2018, I believe. It's been around for a while. It's going on, been here at least 2 years. So I guess 2019. And its interface was clunky to begin with. But I thought they would, fix it. They never did. The Disney Plus interface is a freaking disgrace. And someone tell me, can you trademark an interface? Like, just steal one. Like, you don't need to steal the software, but
just steal it from Peacock.
No, don't steal from Peacock. A lot of them stink. Yeah. Give me a resume or start from the beginning. Give me a continue watching sort of thing. Give me your favorites thing. Don't hide the watch list over on the corner. They finally put in like a place to type that's easy to find in the search. I mean, every freaking episode of DuckTales, which is my kid's new favorite and also mine. I love the DuckTales reboot. It's really good.
It is.
But every episode ends with the end credits. Like that sounded really stupid. Every episode we go to watch starts with the end credits because we skip to the next episode and it's like, oh, hey, we want to watch Double O Duck. All right, we'll put on Double O Duck. Well, here's the end. It's every single time. Just start at the beginning. Or like, Papa, would you like to start at the beginning? So, like, Disney, why didn't you buy another company? That's what you do. You don't come up with your own ideas. You should have just bought Netflix or buy anything that's remotely functional or steal what you can steal. Just make it better. You've had 2 years for years, and most of us were locked inside for the past year and a half. We're probably going to be locked inside come the winter. Yes. All right, I actually said wiener instead of winter, so I'm done. Disney Plus, you're going in the penalty box for not stealing properly. 2 minutes for not stealing properly.
All right, that is all the time we have for today. We'll be back next Tuesday talking about Phillies, maybe in first place by then. Eagles getting ready for a preseason game. What a closing ceremonies. Who the hell knows? So if you haven't done so already, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe to the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, check us out on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search Podadelphia. If you have any more time in your podcast listening week, be sure to check out the Whip Around for all the week's weird news. And make sure you check out and follow the Painted Lines on YouTube for your wall-to-wall Philly sports coverage. I think that's all. So until next week, have a great day at work, everybody. Remember, it is not illegal to kill a praying mantis. And we are out of here.